Alrighty, hey guys, AnimeWestReacts here. This is going to reaction to One Piece chapter 1015, or 1115, titled Continental Fragments. So we got cover story continuing, Yamato in the Shrine Pilgrimage, getting a bento from Hiyori and Otoko. Yeah, we just see Hiyori and Toko making like onigiri and bento. But alright, getting into the chapter. We start off in Wano. They got the Straw Hat Jolly Roger all posted up on the mountain. It says, "It's hard to believe this foreign transmission is reaching us." And it says, "Now you may be wondering how he came to be known as a pirate." After continuing from last time where we learned Joy Boy is the first pirate. And it says, or someone says, "We found the snail in the castle among Orochi's possessions." So we got Momo saying, or Momonosuke saying, "So you were a pirate, Joy Boy, just like Luffy." And then Kinemon says, you know him, my lord." And we see Shinobu and Tama kind of in the background. And we go over to G4. It says, a jail cell at G4 Naval Base. Okay, wow. Demalo Black is being Kid now, I guess, instead of Luffy. Changed up. They say Joy Boy. Yeah, the one who was like the Sanji ripoff. Because who cares about... Nah. Joy Boy, who cares? I bet you could easily beat him, right, Captain Kid? Dumb, and the man's already dead. That's our captain, the only thing bigger than his confidence is his belly." And then Demalo Black says, "Yeah, I'm clearly a million times tougher than this Joy Boy, or Joy Toy." They say, "It's Joy Boy, boss." But Vegapunk, we see some Marines. Vegapunk says, "Do bear in mind, I only have access to a handful of poneglyphs, but their combined narrative clearly chronicles an unbelievable history about a great war in the distant past. During that period, Joy Boy faced an enemy, the organization now known as the World Government." And then, yeah, one of them's like, wait, is that us? And he says, "Well, he did say he was a pirate." And then someone yells Vegapunk, and then we see Dory, Broggy, and Luffy running away from the big boar, Gorosei. Can't remember his name. Almost said Joy Boy said, but Vegapunk then says, "Back then, they were merely the Allied Powers, a temporary coalition consisting of 20 separate kingdoms." And then we see Mars walking, exuding Conqueror's hockey, and just snails, transponder snails, like falling over as he passes. And it says, Vegapunk says, "It can be assumed that an alliance was the only feasible way to oppose the formidable faction to which Joy Boy belonged. I'm afraid that the cause of this conflict still eludes me, so I do not presume to judge the morality of the combatants. I can, however, say that this war was a clash of two opposing ideologies. I mentioned earlier that Joy Boy was born into a fantastical civilization." We see Zunisha not saying anything, just ... Her lip sneeze, I think is what it's called. And then, yeah, Vegapunk says, "One so advanced that it is hard to believe it existed over 900 years ago." We see the Minks. Vegapunk says, "The weapons that exist during this century-long struggle are far beyond our modern science." And then Karen says, so the Minks with Karen in front saying, "That's amazing." Oh, well. We got a Foxy sighting. He says, "What's that peanut-headed fool saying?" And then, yeah, I don't remember their names. I just remember Foxy Pirates. But one of them says, "Oh, boss, you're making me hungry." And it says, Vegapunk says, "Such technology is baffling even to a genius such as myself." And then, yeah, one of them says, "He's so big-headed, poo poo poo." Then Vegapunk says, "And therein lies our problem. At the Lavostratum, near Gotcha, or Peru Gotcha, and then Lilith, or Stussy, not Lilith. Lilith's the Stussy and Kaku. It says Stussy, wheeze. And he says, "Huh, it's me." And then Edison and Lukaku just kind of chilling because he can't do much. It says, "Lower the barrier and hightail it out of there." And Stussy says, "But I can't. What if something were to happen to the Straw Hat crew?" And Edison says, "I'm gonna be straight with you. There ain't no point in the barrier no more. Not when there are monsters on the island who can ignore it." Yeah. Then says, "We've done all we can for them. I'm sure they'll make it somehow." Then Jinbei says, "How much longer, Jim?" Or someone over the comm says, "How much longer, Jinbei?" And he's like, got Zoro slung over his shoulder and says, "My apologies, we're almost there." And then says, Zoro says, "You're none to apologize for. We were busy." Someone says, "Is that you, Zoro? You're gonna get it later." Nami is the one, I guess, who they were talking to. It says, "Now hurry up. They're moving their ships to blockade the northeast coast. I'll never forgive you if we get blasted out of the water before all this." And Stussy says, "That's good to hear. I was worried about Stella. I was worried Stella would never forgive me if I let them get caught." It says, "As if. Now get your ass out of there." And then says, "But I don't know what to do with myself." And then he says, "Huh?" Stussy says, "Now that Stella's gone, who am I meant to live for? I have no purpose." And Kaku just says, like, ... with exclamation marks. Like, wasn't expecting that. Meanwhile, we got Bonnie fighting, I guess. Says, or we see Bonnie kicking someone, or I guess Nostiro's tiny. Interesting. It says, "Don't let him use his sword." Or, no, Bonnie made herself giant, I guess is what it is. Might be what it is, because we see Oimo and Kashi are getting kind of like, looks like you got tossed around. It says, "Don't let him use his sword. This geezer can cut anything." And then Nostriro is saying, like thinking, "Since the living voices." This is Bonnie, as he like swipes the sword, she like ducks out of the way, or Frankie like clotheslines Bonnie to get her out of the way. And he says, "Bonnie, get down." And then she like, "Yeah," and then there's like a slash that goes flying. Bonnie gets turned back into a child. And then we see like cuts off we see like a slash through the air cutting through the pirate ship, like the masts and where the flag is at. They're I don't know what they're called. Wow. But then he says, There you go. Frank's like, He sees Bonnie and she's like, I can't maintain a distorted future for very long." The Vegapunk says, "The Void Century ended with Joy Boy's defeat." And then we see the giant robot and Zunisha. So yeah, two of the fallen. Where it shows, when it says with Joy Boy's defeat, it shows Zunisha and the robot. And then Nostriro says, how much do you intend to save, Vegapunk?" And then Kashi is like, "He's leaving," or Oima, one of the two. We get a big page with Nostriro thinking, "There are too many life forms here," and he just cuts through. You just see like a big slash through the cloud, through Egghead, I guess, or the lab. And says, "But the aftermath had grander consequences. The wake of that ancient conflict scarred the world, and those scars never healed." So yeah, Nostriro like cut through the Labostratum, it looks like, or the cloud, because you see the bottom of it. like the inside of the lab. And then, I got the captured Marine or captured CP agents being like, what the? And all the Seraphim getting freed, it looks like, or their bubbles falling. All those CP agents that were captured by York, I think it was, or Shaka, one of the two, start falling out of the sky because that Nostro just cut the building in half pretty much. Or cut the clouds. Blah. Says and the Vegapunk's message says, we all know travel between islands can be excruciatingly difficult. The sea as one must traverse are so vast and perilous, most people are content to live and die at their place of birth, never experiencing any culture other than their own. And someone on an island says, isn't that obvious? Yeah, everyone knows the seas are dangerous. And the Vegapunk says, that is common knowledge to us now, but it wasn't like that 1,000 years ago. Let me see. Zoro's hometown. His teacher Vegapunk saying, a cataclysmic ecological disaster occurred during the Void Century. And the ancient world was swallowed by the ocean. We are now living atop the remnants. Continental fragments of the land masses that were... Yeah, we are now living atop the remnants. Continental fragments of the land masses that once were. Let me see, under the sea, big old fish and bunch of buildings and stuff that have like fish swimming around in them and things growing off of them. But we see the Revolutionary Army say what? And then Sabo kind of just like looking off to the side, I guess, listening. It says, the world of a millennia ago sleeps unseen at the bottom of the ocean. And Vegapunk continuing says, I know it's hard to believe on my word alone, but there really were vast continents back then. Now we're over at Nami's village. They're saying, this is insane. Hey Nojiko, where do you think you're going? The whole world's at stake. And she says, fill me in later. I gotta check on the tangerine orchard. Blah. They're just like, no, Nojiko. And Vegapunk continuing, saying, this change in the world helps explain how a century of history could be censored. A feat that seems nigh impossible, but makes sense when you consider the undeniable conclusion all the data points to. Within a mere century, the average sea level rose by a staggering 200 meters. Everyone's like, what? All the Marines are like, what? You're kidding. 200 to 200. A warship's only 60 meters tall. No wonder the world disappeared. And so, hey, stop listening to this crap. We have work to do. The Seraphim and all the imprisoned Cypherpole agents were spotted falling out of the lab building. We gotta go rescue them. And yeah, back on that one island. They're all laughing, saying, did you hear that? His tall tales keep getting taller. The old fart's lost his marbles. What a joke. The Soccer Kingdom Chopper's hometown. We got Do something. Blah, forget his name. Says, is that really possible? And then Kureha saying, even now the world finds a way to keep things interesting. And it says, that mountain is 200 meters. You're saying that something that tall would be submerged? That's awful. How many people died? And there's just this girl with a apple hat on. This girl who has like a Vegapunk looking apple helmet thing. But yeah, she just says ... This is Painter Girl. I don't know what happened to her. Forget her name. The Painter Girl from Baroque Works. That's what I'm thinking that. Who I'm thinking that could possibly be. But yeah, Vegapunk says, That begs the question, how and why did such a flood occur? Naturally, your first inclination might be to assume that it was some kind of natural disaster. However, I can say for certain that it was no such thing. It was a man-made calamity. And they're like, you can't be serious. Yeah. Yeah, be holding Morgan's mouth shut. It says, Vegapunk says, if this catastrophe was brought about by natural means, there would be recordings denoting early warning signs several centuries earlier. It was a severe world-altering event after all. But all my research into meteorology, geology, ecology, and atmospheric science confirmed that there was no such natural buildup. Yeah, just got BB pretty much telling Morgans to be quiet, holding his beak, like going like that. But continuing, Vegapunk says it is impossible for such a drastic change to happen spontaneously within the span of a mere 100 years. Meaning the cause lies elsewhere. My suspicions were confirmed a few days ago when I analyzed the world's current sea levels. This will be hard to accept, but that disaster 800 years ago was caused by ancient weapons technology capable of sinking the world. And that very same firepower evidently still exists, just waiting to be used again. In other words, the Great War which ravaged the world during the Void Century is still going on. And then we get this like eerie zoom in on Emu's face. It says the genius sheds light on a forgotten history. So yeah, hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, then like the video, share it, sub the channels, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.